What's up, everybody? Welcome to Axel's Wrestling Review, and yeah, there's something a bit different about this picture. You got my ugly mug. Feel bad for you. This is how I'm going to be doing the videos, the YouTube stuff, at least from now on anyway. Podomatic, iTunes, Spreaker and SoundCloud will all remain the same as audio files, but you know, YouTube, said it for a while now, we're changing the show a bit. This is the presentation changes that I'm making. It's going to be done as a video as opposed to a audio file. I find it kind of gets the point across better when people can actually sort of see the person who's actually hosting the videos. You can see sort of the expression, the emotions that they're sort of putting through when they're doing their reviews. So how I want to do it. Whether it get me more or less viewers is another matter, obviously. Depends who wants to see this thing. Basically doing a preview of the Royal Rumble event for tonight. Second biggest event of the year, I would say, bigger than SummerSlam, simply because of the build that it has towards WrestleMania. Obviously WrestleMania being the granddaddy of them all, the Royal Rumble where we start on the road to WrestleMania to find out who is going to be the #1 contender for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, who could potentially be the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, and you know, this is where things kick off on the undercard as well. So I've got a few predictions for that. So yeah, basically, first match of the night will be the kickoff show. The New Day versus Adam Rose, Tyson Kidd and Cesaro. Gone with the New Day to win that one, simply because they'll probably just want the faces to win, as much as they'll most likely want, the fans of Philly will most likely want Cesaro, Kidd and Rose to win, simply for Cesaro and Kidd, because you know, the Philly crowd is very smart and they know what they want. But WWE does like to do that on the pre-shows. They do like to have the face win, especially when you know the heels are on a bad run, like Rose, Kidd and Cesaro are. So I see the New Day winning that match, but I think we'll see all 6 of them in the Rumble as well. There's still a lot of spots open for the Rumble, potentially a lot of surprise entrances. But I do see these 6 guys being in the Rumble itself. You know, Kofi's got to be in there because Kofi's got to have his spot. That's his bread and butter every year, his spot in the Royal Rumble. But you know, we'll see what WWE do with it. I think also we'll probably see something along the lines of some sort of qualifying match for the Rumble. Maybe, I don't know, maybe like a battle royale for people who aren't entered just yet. I think Eric Rowan needs to be in there. Otherwise, what's the point in bringing him back? You know, they brought him back. He lost his qualifying match to Luke Harper on SmackDown, and now what? You know, it's typical WWE booking where they sort of build a guy up, push him back down the card. But I see Harper maybe Rowan qualifying. I think he needs to qualify. I think he needs to be in there. He's not obviously going to win the match, but I think he needs to be in there. Onto the main show then itself. First match I've got here is the WWE Tag Team title match. Damien Sandow and The Miz challenging the Usos. And on SmackDown we saw Damien Sandow speaking only semi in character, I suppose, and obviously he doesn't do a lot of talking itself these days, you know. The Miz was sort of degrading him, saying, you know, he fucked up his cup of coffee. He was down talking him for his impression of X-Pac. He said he's not X-Pac's stunt double, he's his stunt double. The people don't cheer for him, they cheer for The Miz, which gives Mizdow the perception that the fans do cheer for Mizdow. The Usos then sort of came in and said, look, you know, you don't need to worry about him, you could be your own star. And this is going to be, I think, the start of the face turn. I've got the Usos down to win the match. I think that's a foregone conclusion. But I think this is where we'll start to see the breakup of The Miz and Mizdow. The way a lot of people want to see it is so that Mizdow unintentionally humiliates The Miz, and The Miz, you know, he goes after Mizdow, attacks him to turn him face. What I would rather see is Mizdow Sandow. Rather see Sandow go back to being the intellectual saviour of the masses basically either just walking out on the Miz to leave the Miz to it, or outsmarting him somehow, as if to say, right, my career was on a downward spiral, I got it back to where it needs to be when I was in a tag team with you, and this is me now proving that I am still the intellectual saviour of the unwashed masses. I think that could work perfectly. I think it's something they could easily go back to. Whether they do it or not is obviously another matter. That's just what I personally like to see. I haven't seen anybody else suggest that yet, but it's something they can easily go back to. Paige and Natalya versus the Bellas. I got the Bellas down to win. That just seems again like a foregone conclusion. You got Nikki, who's the Divas champion. I don't know. Maybe we'll see something break down into some sort of melee, sort of like what we've had on NXT recently, and we'll get a fatal 4-way at the Fastlane pay-per-view next month. I don't really see any other outcome other than the Bellas win there. Not really interested in it, if I'm honest with you. Much as I like Natalya and Paige as wrestlers, it's just a total divas fight. It's not my cup of tea for anybody who knows me. Knows what I'm like. I don't like reality television, so I'm not going to be fucking interested in this match, because that's what it's about, is reality television. The Ascension versus the Outlaws. Got the Ascension. As I said on the podcast that I uploaded yesterday, I don't see the payoff for this, because you've got the Outlaws, who they're coming back after a year or so away, and the Ascension, they've been down talking legendary tag teams for 2 or 3 weeks. As I said on the podcast I uploaded a couple of days ago, I'd rather they did it the way that they did it with Rob Conway back in 2005, where he was beating legends for months, down talking legends for months, kicking the shit out of legends for months, just for the sake of it. And the way they did it with Heath Slater as well a couple of years ago, where that had a good payoff at can't remember if it was the 20th anniversary show, if it was the Raw 1000, but it just worked for those storyline purposes. I can't see this working for the Ascension. What payoff they're going to get from beating a tag team that they've only had one altercation with? If they were to defeat other, maybe like smaller tag teams, maybe like Too Cool for example, just trying to think from other tag teams from the past, but there aren't any really that could come by, unless they're going to build it up where they face maybe the Dudleys at WrestleMania. I don't know, maybe they could have brought Animal back for maybe like a one-on-one match with Connor. That could have been quite good, quite physical. I just don't really see where they're going to go with it. But again, that's WWE Tag Team Division booking crap. World Heavyweight Championship, WWE World Heavyweight Championship. You've got Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins versus John Cena. And this is where the possibilities are endless. You've got John Cena, who is the number one guy in the company, the number one guy in the rest of the world. You've got Seth Rollins, who is potentially, no pun intended, with Brock Lesnar being in the match, the next big thing, who could quite easily become the next big thing. And then obviously you've got the World Heavyweight Champion himself, Brock Lesnar. I've got Brock down to win, but that's simply because of the very strong rumours online that he will be facing Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. What I'd rather see is Seth to win and Randy Orton to win the Royal Rumble. That's obviously not likely to happen. I think it's the better case scenario, because Seth is ready now for that big spotlight, whereas Roman's not quite ready yet. Give him another year or so and he will be ready, but he's not quite ready just yet. You got Randy Orton coming back. He's pissed off at the Authority, pissed off at Seth Rollins. So you put them together in a match, and the one thing that any match would be missing, if it was just a regular one-on-one match, would be the World Heavyweight Championship. I think you need that in there. John Cena were to win. Maybe if Reigns were to win the Royal Rumble, you've got a pass and torch match, but that would just be a clusterfuck. That would just be an awful match. As much as John's not as bad a wrestler as what people make him out to be, I don't think he's good enough to carry Roman for a 20-30 minute match. If it was Brock, Brock could carry him. If it was Rollins, Rollins could carry him. I don't think John's quite good enough. So yeah, I've gone with Brock to win that. And the Royal Rumble match itself, as I say, I'm going with Roman Reigns simply because of, you know, the strong rumours that it's going to be Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 31. I would prefer Dolph Ziggler to win because I think he's got more momentum than pretty much everybody else on the roster at the moment. I can understand why they wouldn't go with Dolph Ziggler. Obviously, you know, he's concussion prone. He's a few years older than Reigns as well. He's 4 or 5 years older than Reigns. That kind of goes against him, I suppose. He does deserve a WrestleMania moment, don't get me wrong, but I think what we'll find is that his WrestleMania moment would have been the night after WrestleMania 29, where he won the World Heavyweight Championship from Alberto Del Rio. But you know, there's rumours as well, people who are going to be in the match. There's rumours that The Rock's in Philly. And one thing that I came up with earlier, what if Brock was to retain the title and The Rock was to return to win the Royal Rumble match? But then that would mean that one of them would have to stay behind until at least Extreme Rules. And can't see that happening. Really can't see that happening because The Rock's obviously, you know, he's got his Hollywood commitments. Brock's very heavily rumoured to be going back to WrestleMania. WWE have stopped working on merchandise for Brock Lesnar. So maybe the only way that could work is if Seth Rollins were to cash in immediately after that match. I don't know, because they generally like to end WrestleMania with a high where the babyface stays on top, or is on top rather, and rightly so, you know, because they want to give the fans what the fans want to see at that event. I don't think there's many other possible outcomes. Daniel Bryan, but a lot of people are saying it already, and I agree with it completely. Why give Daniel Bryan is another WrestleMania moment when he had one last year? I know there are people who have won several WrestleMania main events. You look at guys like Hulk Hogan, John Cena, Triple H, but that's because those guys were at the top of the company at the time. Daniel Bryan is not the top guy in the company. John Cena's the top guy in the company. That's why he's had so many WrestleMania main event moments. That's why Hulk Hogan had so many WrestleMania main event moments. That's why The Rock did. That's why Stone Cold Steve Austin did. That's why Shawn Michaels did. That's why Daniel Bryan is not going to have one, because he is not the top guy in the company. One guy who we're definitely not, rumoured to definitely not see in the Royal Rumble match is Justin Gabriel. Justin Gabriel has allegedly quit the WWE. I put a report up on the Twitter page and on the Facebook page, and basically he's just pissed off, I would think, because, you know, when he came in, he was a big part of the Nexus, and not many people know this, but he holds the record since the WWE Tag Team Championships inception back in 2002. He and Heath Slater hold the record joint with Eminem for the most number of reigns as a team for that particular championship. It's a shame, you know, Justin Gabriel's a very talented superstar, or wrestler, sorry, and he's just sort of, after that Nexus run, he's had a couple of pay-per-view matches. Nothing. I think he had a US title match with Cesaro at one point on pay-per-view, and they were sort of giving him an undercard push, but he's just been sort of relegated to main event superstars and NXT. That's not to say that NXT is at the bottom of the pile, because it most certainly isn't. You know, NXT is the most interesting part of the product at the moment for WWE, but it is where the new guys are coming up from. You know, I think Justin deserves a little bit better than that. So if he has gone, you know, there's lots of opportunities for him out there on the independent circuit. You know, maybe getting down to Ring of Honor, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, Lucha Underground. I think he would do well in because of his high flying style. But you know, we'll see what they do with Justin Gabriel. If indeed he has gone, we'll see where he goes next. You know, I'm definitely interested to see where he goes, because I think he could make big waves outside of the WWE. Whether he does or not is another matter. He could maybe, if he was going to, if he went to Ring of Honor, maybe, I don't know, I think he could have some great chemistry as a team and as an opponent on that side out. Anybody who's got any opinion on that, just drop it on down below in the comments section. I think that just about wraps it up. That's my predictions for tonight. Anybody who's got any predictions, just again whack them down below in the comments section. Make sure you look out for me on Twitter at Axel Mulligan, and the Axel's Wrestling Review Facebook Twitter page. Sorry, a Wrestling Review. That's wrestling spelt without a G. And make sure you look out for the Facebook page as well, Axel's Wrestling Review. Thank you very much for watching, everybody, or listening if you're listening on Podomatic, iTunes, Spreaker or SoundCloud. I'll be back. I will be reviewing, there's the ICW Square Go show. That's on tonight, but it will be on ICW On Demand tomorrow night from 9 PM GMT, so I will be reviewing that at some stage over the next week or so. Obviously I'll be doing Ring of Honor and NXT next week as well, so thank you everybody for watching or listening, and I'll be back again next time.